today we're gonna start standing. Start by bouncing around a little bit. Just move your body around, kind of get into the ankles, shake around the legs, shake around the arms. And then you can start coming to stillness. Bring one hand to your belly, take a deep breath, try to send your breath there. We're going to move into a type of breath work called breath of fire. And some people like to have both hands on their belly so they can feel that breath working. Some people like to have their arms overhead and to be stretching up, wherever feels most comfortable for you. And we're essentially going to take a big inhale through the nose, and then you're taking short little exhales on your way out, and you're sending that into your belly. So it almost feels like core work midway through. We're going to do it approximately 30 times, 30 seconds. So when you're ready, bring your hands wherever you feel most comfortable and take a big inhale through the nose. And begin. When you're ready, take a big inhale. And exhale out the mouth. Let your arms just come down by your sides. Close down the eyes if that feels okay. And just let your breath come back to natural, even breathing. Start to flutter the eyes open. Take your feet to the outer edges of your mat, and your arms can come out at your sides. We're just going to start rocking back and forth. Just kind of wakes up the core. Gentle twisting to get into the upper back a little bit. You're coming up onto the toe as you're rotating side to side. So you don't want this to head into your lower back. So a few Qigong type of movements to start our practice for today. When you're ready, just let your arms slowly come back down by your sides. Stop with the rocking. Heel toe the feet closer in towards each other. Let's reach the arms up overhead. You can come up onto the tiptoes each time that we do this. So with the hands overhead, you're going to reach up higher with the left hand, right arm comes down, come up onto the toes, and then come back onto the heels, do the other side. So right hand reaches all the way up, left hand down. And we're just going to alternate back and forth. You're just stretching up and out through the side body. Coming up onto the toes. So it's also working on a little bit of balance, stretching out the feet a little bit, ankle strength. There's a lot happening here, even though it might feel pretty easy. Let's go one more time each side. And then come back down, bring the arms by your sides, shake them up. Give yourself a few big shoulder circles. So your arms can stay as if they were in your pockets down by your sides, and just roll the shoulders up, back, and down a few times. And then switch, roll them forward. Come back into neutral. On your next breath in, look up, raise arms overhead. And exhale, start to fold all the way forward. You can keep a really big bend at the knee here. Reach the hands towards the mat, let the head be heavy. Shake the head yes and no a few times, just make sure. And then place both hands on the mat. Just tiptoe the feet all the way back behind you until you can bring the knees down and head into your tabletop. We're going to do reverse breath, cat-cow. So on your inhale, round the spine up towards the ceiling. Exhale, come through neutral. Chin comes up, look up. Go 2 more times like this in this reverse breath, cat-cow. Going at whatever speed feels good for you. Start to make your way back into neutral and sit back onto the heels. From here, let's inhale the arms up overhead. Grab onto the left wrist with the right hand. Pull the hands over to the right. Stretching one more time through that left side. And then come through center, switch the grip. Pull the hands over to the left. And come back into center. Come up into this tall kneeling position. We're going to go through a few shoulder rotations or shoulder cars. So when you're ready, start to bring your left hand slowly up overhead. The thumb's pointing back. When your hand gets over top, point the pinky back and come full rotation. You're trying to keep your hips facing forward. Go 2 more times like this, with the arm going up and back. And then switch directions. Go the other way so the arm is coming forward. Go just a little bit slower than you want to. And try to keep the hips forward. This will start to turn on the core as you get into the later rotations. Last one, bring the left hand back down. Give your arms a shake, and then we'll move on to the other side. So right arm, we're gonna make our 3 rotations going up and back. Looking forward, hips stay forward. And one side might be crunchier than the other or have way more mobility, and that's okay. Just lets you know where you need to do a little bit more work. So switch directions if you haven't already. Go 3 times moving forward. And then come back to neutral, give the arms a shake. Let's interlace the fingers behind us, pull the hands down, open up through the chest. And then release, bring the hands back down into your tabletop. Let's tuck the toes under. We're going to slowly make our way into a downward facing dog, but you can keep a really big bend at the knee here still until the hamstrings feel like they're ready to start straightening. So pedal at the feet, stretch out through the calves, warm up the hamstrings. Pick up the feet, roll around the ankles a few times. And on your next breath, just rock forward up onto the toes. Bring the knees down until they can hover above the ground an inch. Take a breath. And then send the hips back up, roll your way back into downward dog. See if you can bring your heels just a little bit closer to the earth. Let's do that again. So rock forward with the spine. Bring knees down, hover. Take a breath and then start to come back up, rock all the way back. See if your heels can get a little bit closer. Take 2 breaths here. And then when you're ready, bring the feet just a little bit closer together. Take the right foot up into the air behind you. You can bend the knee, open the hip if that feels good. We're going to step the right foot between your hands at the top of the mat on the next inhale. So you're here in this lunge position. Take a breath here in this runner's lunge. And then lift the arms up overhead, come into a high lunge, stretch out through the left hip. When you're ready, we're going to bounce off that back foot, bring the back foot up halfway, and point the toes out at a 45-degree angle. We're going to interlace the hands behind the back again, pull them down, open the chest, and then start to fold forward over the front leg. Let gravity take your arms all the way back behind you. And just breathe here. Release the hands. Bring them all the way down to the mat. Float the left foot off the ground. Come into your standing split. So the left foot goes high into the air as you can. And then tuck the left knee into the body, hover the fingertips, come up to stand, bring the hands into heart center. Hold here for a breath, working on our balance and this hip flexor strength on the left side as you hold your knee up into your chest. And then send the left foot all the way back, come into your high lunge one more time. Pivot on the back foot, head into your warrior two. Front heel is in line with the back arch. And then you can start to straighten this front leg. Bring your hand to the shin or all the way down to your mat and come into your triangle pose. Lift up using the core through warrior two. Bring the left hand down the left leg, come into exalted warrior. So right arm goes up over top. And then cartwheel the hands down to frame the right foot. Take the right foot beside the left. Bring the knees down and lower all the way. Bring the hands just slightly out in front. Pull through the finger pads on your next inhale. Lift the shoulders up and back into cobra. And release, come back down. Let's do that one more time. On your next inhale, lift up into your cobra. Pull through the hands. And exhale, release. Take a breath. Bring the hands under your shoulders. Tuck the toes. Lift back up into your downward dog. Pedal up the feet. Notice the difference that you might feel between sides. Take 2 breaths here. When you're ready, bring the feet a little closer together. Take the left foot up into the air behind you. Bend the knee, open the hip to the sidewall if that feels good. And then rock forward on the inhale. Step the left foot between the hands at the top of the mat. Hold here in this runner's lunge for a breath. And then use the core, lift up all the way, high lunge. Take 1 breath here. And then bounce off of that back foot, use your momentum to step the right foot up halfway. Toes are going off the mat out of 45. Interlace the hands behind you, pull down, open the chest, and then start to fold forward over the front leg. Keeping whatever kind of bend you need in that front leg until your hamstring is totally warm. When you're ready, you can start to release the hands, bring them down to the mat, float the right foot all the way up, standing splits. And then start to bring the right knee into the chest, hover the fingertips until you can bring them into heart center, lift up all the way. Flex the right foot, the right hip flexor is working as you pull that knee up towards you. Start to send the right foot all the way back, make your way into your high lunge. And then pivot on the back foot, come into warrior two. On your next inhale, start to straighten this front leg, bring your hand to your shin, triangle pose. And then we'll lift up, use the core through warrior two, bring the left hand overhead, come into exalted warrior. When you're ready, cartwheel the arms, bring them down to frame the left foot, take the left foot beside the right so you're in plank. Lower all the way, you can bring your knees down or not, we're gonna lower all the way to the front of the body. Take the hands all the way forward. Try to keep the neck long so you're looking down at your mat. And then lift the hands up as high as you can. Loop them all the way down until they're at your lower back. And we're gonna make a few of these snow angels on our stomach. Let's do 2 more. And the next time your hands are facing forward, You can bring them back underneath you. Bring one cheek to your mat or your forehead down. Take a breath. Let's start to bend knees. Bring the heels together as if they were glued together. You're making a V shape with your feet. On your next breath in, you can leave your forehead down or bring it up depending on what position makes you feel stronger. You're going to just lift the heels up towards the ceiling. So turning on the glutes. And exhale, bring them back down. Let's do this 5 more times, following your breath. So inhale, pick up the feet. Exhale, bring the knees back down to your mat. It's a really subtle movement, but it's a lot of sensation in the glutes and maybe even the hamstrings. 3 more times. Last one, pick up. And exhale, release, let the legs go long. You can tap the tops of the feet onto the mat if that feels good. And then relax, take a breath. Start to bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Lift up into your plank, and then send the hips all the way back, downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths. And then we're going to send that right foot up into the air behind you. This time when you rock forward, bring the right knee just behind the right wrist and sit the hips all the way back. We're coming into pigeon. So this front leg does not need to be parallel. If it lands at a 45 like mine has, that's totally fine. Whatever works in your body. So you can stay up here on your fingertips in your pigeon. You can come down to your elbows for sleeping pigeon and stack your hands, bring your forehead down. We're going to be here for about a minute. This is one of those positions that you want to hold a bit longer so you can get into the connective tissue and let the glutes start to relax. So make sure that you're comfortable, and that might mean that you need a prop underneath the right glute. Bring the floor a little bit closer to you. And just try to relax down into it. If you want to make it more active, you can always come up onto the right hand, bend the left knee and grab onto that foot and add in a quad stretch. Depending on where you're at today. Start to release that back foot, bring it all the way down. Bring your hands wide on your mat again. Tuck the back toes under. You're going to pick up the back knee and then try to float the back or the front leg to meet the back at the back of your mat. So we're in our downward dog. Pedal at the feet. Take your 2 breaths. And then when you're ready, start to float the left foot up behind you. Rock forward on your inhale, bring the left knee just behind the left wrist. Slide the right foot back until you're in pigeon on the other side. Same thing here, you can stay up on your hands, you can rock back and forth. You can come all the way down to your elbows. Or you can bend that back knee, grab onto the foot, add in your quad stretch. We'll be here for a minute, so make sure that you are comfortable. And comfort doesn't mean no sensation, it just means no pain. So some of these longer holds provide a lot of sensation because that connective tissue is releasing and relaxing. And because the glutes and the quads, if you're in this same stretch that I'm in right now, carry a lot of tension. So there's definitely going to be sensation, but you don't want to push to the point of pain. It's all about understanding your own body, which comes as you build your practice. And as always, if any of these poses that I'm leading you through don't feel good in your body, feel free to do any sort of pose that your body's asking for, that feels good for you today. Your time, your practice, you don't need to be following what I'm doing if it doesn't feel good. Okay, start to release that back foot. Come up onto the hands. Tuck the back toes under and pick up the knee, and then float back into your downward dog. Head, leg, feet. Start to tiptoe the feet to the top of the mat, and then cross your ankles, come to seated. Take the legs out long, give them a shake. So from here, you can come down into your Shavasana if that's what you want to be your final resting pose, or you can come into Viparita Karani, which means you're sending your legs up the wall. So if there's a wall nearby that doesn't have a lot of things on it, just scoot your bum up as close as you can towards the wall. Take your feet all the way up in the air, which is really amazing for your lymphatic system, for your hormones, for your relaxation response, getting into that parasympathetic system. So I love legs up the wall to finish, but whatever feels better for you today, we're going to be here for another couple of minutes. So if you're in your Shavasana, or if you're in your legs up the wall, just try to relax all the way into it. I'll call you back in 2 minutes to finish our practice. So wherever you are, if you're in your Shavasana or your legs up the wall, start to bring your knees into your chest and just rock a few times side to side on the spine. And then you can start to roll over to one side. Make your way up to seated. From here, let's just take one big deep breath in together. In through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Thanks for practicing with me today. Hope to see you in another one of these classes. Namaste, and I hope you have an amazing afternoon.
All right, thank you so much everyone for joining.